everybody, PJ Mills here, and I wanted to do this little behind the scenes video, if you will, just to share a couple stories and parts of the film that y'all might miss just from watching it, and also just really focus on the cast and crew and all the incredible people that came together to make this film happen. I can say that this whole experience really reminded me of why I love what I do. And a part of me almost thinks these videos can kind of serve as a personal reminder for those times that I get a little down because I'm not working on a project, because there are seasons where maybe I'm working on other things, whether that be music or I'm focused on my family. I want these videos to serve as reminders to myself of how far I've come, how much I've learned, and how I'm continuing to move towards that future. So after writing the script, I posted a casting call on Backstage.com, which I've heard different people say different things about Backstage, but in my experience, it's been pretty positive. I've met a lot of talented people through there. And then I had a bunch of people send me their materials. After seeing a bunch of the audition tapes and then talking to Melanie, my wife, she asked, why don't you have the main character be a female? And I actually thought that was a great idea. I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. It should be a female. I think that would be really, really cool. So I reached out to several females who were auditioning and asked if they'd be willing to audition for the character of Trip, now Trina. Laura stood out, Laura Williams. And so I reached out to her and asked if she liked the part, and she accepted, and it was very exciting. So after building the rest of the cast, just remarkably talented individuals from all over the state of Texas, I met with all of them via Skype or Zoom, and we talked about their characters, and then we had a in-person table read, and then for those who were out of town, they joined us via Zoom. And it was great to be able to meet them, a majority of them face to face, read through the script together. I really have fallen in love with that process of building community with a cast and crew. We had our production date scheduled for January 2nd, which I don't recommend doing, especially if you're hosting a New Year's Eve party. I transformed our garage into a movie set, and there was a lot of primary blue lights and then white key lights, and a big part of this was I wanted it to feel like a Hollywood movie set, but not in a standard way. I wanted it to feel like someone was trying to recreate the look of Hollywood with all the blues and the harsh shadows and stuff, because the way I saw it, Trina's character, again played by Laura Williams, has this very inflated perspective of herself and feels like this ransom video, for lack of a better term, is going to be this big message to the whole country, and it's very much this platform for her and people that agree with her, and so I wanted it to feel very over the top, very cinematic, like she set up this whole environment for this moment. It was kind of a visual representation of her perspective of herself as kind of this big, larger than life figure. So like I said earlier, a majority of the film was shot in my wife and I's garage. And because it was January 2nd, it was freezing cold, like really, really chilly. And obviously a big part of the story is a character's getting splashed in the face with water. And of course, as is typical for film sets, we had to do it multiple times. So I was constantly having to splash Thomas, one of our actors, and he was such a trooper. He didn't get mad at me for constantly pouring water on his face, but it was kind of funny because we were capturing a part where he was laying on the ground and I was having to kind of splash him, and then I was having to put fake blood all over him. So he just had just cold liquid all over the place. And so we were shooting his scenes. He would act and do a great job, and then we'd bring this little heater in so he could kind of sit by it and stay warm because it was freezing in that garage and he was covered in water. So he was a real trooper with all that. I always really try to stay on schedule to the best of my ability, but as is typically the case when you're trying to squeeze everything that you got to capture into one day, it can sometimes be a struggle, which made it a little bit difficult in the edit because there were definitely sections of the film that I had wanted a lot more shots to cut around to for coverage, and then you look at the clock and you're like, we don't have time for that. We just got to get a big group shot. I really appreciate everyone, both the cast and the crew, for sticking with it and finishing strong, because I love the way this film wraps up. I think it's one of my favorite moments, just right at the end when we cut to the credits. And I'm so thankful that we were able to capture all that, and everyone was still on their A game when it came to performances. And it was a lot of fun. The film played well at these festivals that we got to share it with. We traveled all over the state of Texas and got to see a lot of different crowd reactions to it. And overwhelmingly, it was very positive. And it was so much fun to have that experience, because I've done festivals before, but it was always from a student perspective. And I never actually gone to a festival as just a independent filmmaker. We were nominated for several awards, which was just mind-blowing. I mean, it was such an honor. And we actually ended up taking home the award for Best Ensemble at Austin Under the Stars, which, I mean, that was just like a dream come true. It was so awesome, and it was so great, because I really think the actors did a wonderful job, and I was so thankful for all their hard work that they came out and spent an entire day in my wife and I's garage. And so to me, it was just it was so fulfilling to be able to have that award and share that with them and be like, hey, this is y'all's. Like, y'all earned this award. And it was such an exciting moment. But overall, I learned a lot doing this film. I'm very proud of how it turned out. If you haven't seen it, which I don't know why you'd be watching this if you haven't seen it, but if you haven't, please go watch it. I love to see what y'all think. Thank you for supporting film, independent film. And if you are part of making The Hostage Situation, thank you so much for all your hard work, because y'all just did amazing work. And I'm so proud of what we made together. And I hope to be able to work with all of you again in the very near future. Thank you.